going, "Are you recording this?" Yeah. She didn't even have to say it to me. I just saw the face, like, is this a recordable moment? Probably not, Leslie, but we'll record anyway. So all of you know that for me, metta was one of my most challenging practices. I did understand the benefits always, and we'll talk about some of those today, both as it is researched and as we know it to be true. But beyond that, I struggled with the idea that I was supposed to be different in some way. I misunderstood the practice. It would mean that I would always be pleasant, that I would always feel connected, that, and it's not that it's not ultimately true. It was that I was looking for some other experience in the metta practice than my own already existing open heart. And so consequently, I missed the open heart that was already present, that is already there, that is abiding in our true nature every moment, over and over, looking for something special, looking for some feeling, emotion. It's not required in the boundlessness, the vastness of our metta practice. And consequently, I both came to feel great aversion for the practice and thought at some level, well, I must just be failed. There is just some deficiency in me that does not allow for this vastness, this boundlessness, this. And of course, that was also not correct. That was not true. What was true was that I was looking in all the wrong places for it. I was specializing. I was trying to make it more, bigger. My sense was what this is cannot be enough because it doesn't feel the way I had wanted or expected or hoped it would feel. And so this must be wrong. And so every time the metta practice was offered, including directly, I've had the privilege of working with Sharon Salzberg on several occasions. Every time she did it, I would just cringe, like, oh, no, I'm supposed to feel a thing I'm not going to feel. It has taken me, 15 to 20 of the years of my practice to recognize that however I am at this moment, contracted or averse or confused or looking in all the wrong directions, that this can be the metta practice too, that I can then offer something of an open-heartedness, an openness, an allowing, an acceptance, a kindness, a gift, a contribution, even in my acceptance of this. And so once that clarity came, a lot of practice, a lot of years later, I began to love the metta practice because then I could open not only to myself, it was the beginning really of opening not only to myself as I was relatively in that moment, not absolutely, just relatively, twisted like this, confused like this, not liking or liking like this. And that it was a genuine act of selflessness to open myself to myself as I was, and then to also be able to do that for others. There is some perceived preference in the practice as it was written and designed and offered 2,600 years ago. There was a preference that you begin with yourself And I don't do that um, specifically. I just ask that we begin wherever we can feel that openness, wherever we can feel that gift, that offering, that open heartedness, that kindness. Can anybody think of any other words for metta? Um, Let me know what comes up for you when you say that word. Write it in chat if you would. What words? I'm using just a few. Um, Wishes, blessing. What else comes to mind? Any thoughts about this? I don't want us to cultivate this narrow understanding as I had walked around with for really way too long. Um, let's see if anybody has any thoughts about that before we go on. Deep care, open heartedness, freedom, compassion, overarching, faithfulness. Listen to that. Love, right? Listen to that. Those are all accepting, expansive, right here, right now, right? The positive, the expanding, somebody said, expansive, a softening of boundaries, inclusive, inclusion. You get the idea, right? Look at all the beautiful, open hearted phrases in language. I think, but I'm not certain, um, that it is totally acceptable, at least it is for me. So let's start there. To begin wherever, again, with self and other and self, because we actually know from many of our other teachings that the open heart is open. And where it is open is not as important as that it is open. And then it just can continue to grow and develop. So we're going to be doing a slightly different version of the metta practice. Since we're going to be doing it all month up until Memorial Day weekend, and I really want us to bring some focused attention to this metta practice. I want everyone to see the qualitative um, heart mind that is the result of this practice qualitatively. By the way, just so you know, those of you who like concentration practices, it is a concentration practice also, as well as a cultivating a quality or an attitude, one of the boundless abodes. So we will talk as we go through about where is the concentration element of the practice. Okay. So good to see you all. I'm going to try to move the gallery a little bit out of the way here on my screen. I have asked Jim to read one of my favorite poems that actually Jim introduced me to probably now 10 or 11 years ago. And I read it often to remember this concept of self-blessing. And I would love, Jim, if you wouldn't mind to come on.
Yeah, I'm here. I would love to. I learned this when I was in Assisi about 11 years ago, and I got to meditate in the caves where Francis and his monks meditated in Mount Sebastio. So a powerful poem from Galloway Kinnell, who's quite an author. And it goes like this. St. Francis and the Sow. The bud stands for all things, even for those things that don't flower. For everything flowers from within of self-blessing. Though sometimes it's necessary to reteach a thing its loveliness, to put a hand on its brow of the flower and retell it in words and in touch, it is lovely, until it flowers again from within of self-blessing. As St. Francis put his hand on the creased forehead of the sow and told her in words and in touch blessings of earth on the sow. And the sow began remembering all down her thick length, from her earthen snout all the way through the fodder and the slops to the spiritual curl of its tail. From the hard spininess spiked out from the spine down through the great broken heart to the sheer blue milken dreaminess spurting and shuddering from the 14 teats into the 14 mouths, sucking and blowing beneath them, the long, perfect loveliness of sow.
Thank you so much for that, Jim. I hope what you could sense or feel here is, it doesn't have to be so crystalline, pristine, perfect. Don't you love the ending? The sow exactly as it is in its complete loveliness. Can we see that in ourselves, no matter the spurting, the shuddering, the squirting? Can we know at some deepened place the goodness of ourselves, even in our failing, even in our confusion, even in our uncertainties, even in our pain? We do know some things about the metta practice as it relates to actually lessening both physical and emotional pain, and it's something that we'll talk about after. Anybody who'd like this poem, St. Francis and the Sow, and I will put that in the Sunday newsletter because it's just a favorite. I'm going to stop this for now, if you don't mind. I think I saw Pete here. I thought I might have wished it, but I think I saw Pete here today, and it is Pete's birthday. And so, Pete, if you are here, just know we are all going to be sending you this metta, this wish for happiness, for ease, for well-being, for safety today.
I can feel that. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. I hope you can, because it's truly real. And may everyone not only offer that level of blessing to Pete today, these beautiful days where we celebrate our birth, but that we generate that loveliness as Pete so genuinely and generously offers to us. Thank you. Happy, happy day. Enjoy it in all the ways I know you will, in all the ways I know you will be celebrated. So
thank you.
Yes,
good.
Already being sent your way.
It's good to see Ricardo and Mike, and good to be with you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for being here last week. That was very helpful to us all. And so why don't we practice together now? We'll do a little more talking about metta, but hopefully after practice from some of your direct experience with it. So if you would get prepared to sit, you can leave, of course, the video on or off, whatever's most comfortable for you. I love seeing you, for those of you who are on. But let's get ourselves situated. So we're going to abandon the ideas. We're going to abandon the ideas that somehow we have to be some other way, that we have to cultivate something we do not already possess, that it is going to come as a special experience or feeling. None of this is the truth of metta. And there is a truth in that as we get out of our own way, as the self-clinging, self-condemning, self-loathing, self-aversion, self-congratulating begins to dissolve as we rest in shamatha to begin, that what you will see is that there really is the gem of the vast open heart resting right there with awareness, ready to be gifted, to be used in whatever way can be of benefit. And so then establishing ourselves in a posture that is supported, comfortable, allows the body to settle. And seeing if, as we begin to turn our attention towards the body, if we can begin by just offering this very body sitting here, if we can offer this body wishes and blessings for well being. Connecting with feet, legs, and the hips. May this body be well. Breathing down and inviting that open heart, that gift, that blessing to this part of the body. And then breathing that blessing up into the area at the base of the spine. Connecting then with the lower, the mid, and the upper back. Feeling indirectly, noticing sensations or lack of sensations. May this part of the body, this back, be well. Gathering the attention at the shoulders. And then as we move down the arms and the hands, as you touch each part, may you offer the blessing that is available from you. May these shoulders, these upper arms, these biceps or triceps, this elbow, these forearms, these wrists, these hands, these fingers, these thumbs, and the fingertips, may this part of the body be well. And is there a way as you touch each part to offer that wish or that blessing? There's a few ways to do it. One is just a phrase. One is to invite an image or a visualization, a light, a massage, a healing. The other is a felt sense. And the felt sense is the one that I'm most connected to. As I touch that part of the arm, I try to really be present there, softening, opening, including whatever's there in openness, in kindness. I use that feeling tone. See what works for you. This is an opportunity for play as well. And then coming back up from the hands all the way to the shoulders and then making contact there with the neck and the head. And then coming down into the front of the head, the face. And touching purposefully into the forehead and the brow, eyes and temple, cheeks and jaw and chin, the nose and the mouth. May this face be well. Making contact with the throat and then the front shoulder, the collarbone. Offering that self-blessing. Moving down into the heart, the chest, the lungs, the inner and the skin surface. May I be healthy. May I breathe with ease. May I bring a kind attention to this part of the body. See what is really available here to offer. By word, by image, by a certain felt sense. And then breathing down with one's attention down into the area of the belly, the abdomen. Feeling the softening body. Breathing in and out. May this vulnerable part of the body be safe and well. And may this practice with this whole body wrapped, immersed in kindness, may it be of benefit. And for today's metta practice, we're just going to radiate for a few moments, however that is true for you. Whether it's a feeling, a set of phrases, whether it's a visualization or all of them. We're going to rest in the breath of metta, of love and kindness, of genuine care, of unconditional friendliness, seeing if we can breathe right into our own bodies and beings. Opening, softening, offering these wishes of goodwill. To this very body. You may choose to breathe into the heart space, touching that radiant goodness if you can feel it there. You may continue to breathe and offer that phrase, may this body be well, healthy, safe. May it live with ease. May this body be happy. May this body be free from internal and external harm. Breathing that in and offering it. The concentration practice is actually right here. It is in the fact that you're going to try to hold the love object, the beloved, which is right now you in this body. And that's part of the concentration, just staying in contact with this love object, you yourself, and this body. And also to continue the practice, to continue to offer metta, the wish for well-being, for ease, to gift yourself breath by breath. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free from physical and emotional distress. May I genuinely, with care, with love, with kindness, may I offer this gift of my own open heart to myself, creating a field of loving kindness in the whole of this body. Continuing to touch on the body as a whole or on parts that begin to radiate sensation. You can focus on something more discrete, the shoulder, the knee, back, the belly, whatever is happening. Or you can continue to hold the whole of the body and see which one invites your greatest engagement and participation. I just got a little shoulder twinge from standing for several hours the other day. And I thought, this is what a beautiful opportunity to wish this left shoulder ease and well-being. We can stay with that for a few breaths and then open back to the body as a whole. Or you can then find another part of the body speaking, asking for self-blessing. Immersing ourselves in kindness. What a radical act of kindness to turn one's own attention with one's love, one's care, one's wish of goodwill towards oneself. Can we offer kindness to this body, the one that is here exactly as it is? This is a big piece of the practice. Not only the parts we like, not only the parts that work, not only the parts that look the way we want them to look or function the way we want them to function, can we begin to open right here then to the parts of the body that have changed, that are no longer as vital, that have now weakened with use or age or injury? Can we offer this kindness regardless of condition? This is a major aspect of the metta practice. It's not based on how good something is. It's based on the openness of your heart towards those conditions. This softened belly, these jowls, these wrinkles, this body in its current health or wellness or imbalance. Can we breathe in and offer the open heart there? Can you offer the blessings of health, of safety, of protection, of happiness, of refuge, of ease to the parts you like and as well to the parts you don't? Can we open to the very affliction, offering it the gift of blessing? The bad left hip, the illness. Can we include and open and embrace and offer love or care here as well? All healing comes from this heart and this mind. The heart mind of metta. And letting that kindness, that care, that unconditional friendliness begin to radiate out beyond this body, beyond the whole of the body, beyond the parts, beyond the cells, the muscles, the marrow, the sinew, the hair. Immerse yourself as completely as you can in the blessing of goodwill, of true friendship. And then begin to imagine a field in front, on the sides, and behind you, you in the center of this field, radiating out these unconditional offerings of love and kindness, care, protection, safety, ease, whatever is here for you. And in creating that field, we're just going to send that very same blessing, those wishes, out with each out breath. You may choose to cultivate a visual for that field. It may be a flower field, a beach, a meadow, a forest. What's that space feel like, look like for you? And we're going to simply rest and breathe in this vast field of metta. Letting whatever is in that field offer these same blessings to you. The flowers, the trees, the boulders, the rocks, the mountains, the beach, the sun, the earth. Let it all echo back this metta to you as you send it out with each out breath. And then breathe it in with each in breath. Is it a felt sense, a phrase, visual? Are you using them all? And as you rest in this vast, open, and boundless field of metta, I'd like you to then begin to let others begin to walk into and through or come in to rest in this field, whatever ends up feeling right and being right for you. And we're not going to go through any graduated um, process today of picking the loved one and the neutral one. We're just going to let whoever comes come. And I'm not so worried about who comes or if someone comes. I just want you to rest in that field and open it to include others. And then just see what happens. Visualizing that field, resting, opening into that unconditional heart, having immersed oneself completely in the open heart and the self-blessing of metta. We begin naturally to radiate it out. It is expansive, inclusive. It does so on its own, in its own time. See who comes. Invite them. And as they enter the field, see what the offering is. Is it just inviting them into this beautiful, open-hearted space? This is enough. Is it inviting them to ease, to rest, to joy, to happiness? Is it to offer a phrase? Just like me, may you be happy. Just as I wish for health and well-being, may you also have health and well-being. The concentration practice, once again, is to hold the love object for a few moments, not to just invite them in and abandon, but to invite them in and to continue to hold them in this field of metta. It would be natural and most workable to begin to see and invite in people we know, people we love, someone with whom we're familiar. And that's a beautiful beginning. Invite them into this awakened heart-mind space, this field to rest, to find refuge, to be cared for. And if you notice that there's a shortage, a felt sense of distraction, or I'm losing my way, you can always come right back. Come back to your own body, your own being. And begin again right here, offering yourself the wish of goodwill, of true friendship, of happiness, ease, safety, health, and well being. And if it's a day where it feels like there's low resource, there's a tiredness, a weariness, you can simply rest in that field of metta yourself. May I be happy. May I be free from internal and external harm. May I live in peace. May this body be well. And just as I wish for happiness, may you be happy. Just as I wish for ease, may you have ease. Just as I wish for freedom from distress, from suffering, may you be free from suffering. May we all be happy. The one and the many. May we all be free from suffering. May we all live with ease and well-being. May we all remember our own true nature and our capacity for care, for love, for kindness. And may this practice of metta continue to grow, to expand, to include, not only in this practice, but throughout our days. So be it. Makes for a happy day. So take a moment and just have a sip of something there. Stretch that neck. So one of the things I'm curious about is, well, in which one of those spheres did you in particular most feel, sense, make contact with the reality of metta, the metta that is already here in you? Was it through the repetition of phrases? Was it in some felt sense of expansion or inclusion? Or was it through visual connection? What way did you find? And if you could, either come on or chat to share what you noticed about that for yourself. So Leanne here, through touch, hand on the heart, arm around someone who joined me. Very lovely. How lovely. How wonderful. Not only a felt sense, but an actual direct experience, which, by the way, all metta is a direct experience. Shivam, so much easier and doable for me to place someone in the field. Yes, rather than to send it to someone specifically. Yeah, to realize metta already exists. It eases that contraction. I know. I would sometimes feel picking someone to send it to. Basically, it leaves the me out of it. Isn't it true, Shivam? Thank you for that. This is not actually the heart of metta. It isn't I get it or you get it or then they get it, but not me. And I agree. I think it's more inclusive in that field than in this sending, like mailing, just to someone or to a group, but really that it is all inclusive. Yeah, complete openness and relaxation. Wonderful. In the wide open field. Lovely. Pete says, birthday guy. That was a wonderful and expansive practice. So many in the field. There was room for them all. I have birthday breakfast now. Please enjoy that completely. Thank you all for the blessings. They are being sent your way. Andy, I felt it in my chest area. Happens fast. I feel it there too, Andy. That's my experience. Also, there is almost that polyvagal bundle really just bursts open. It feels like a warmth or an oozing out, or anybody have that sense? It actually is a real thing, by the way. That's not made up by you. That's actually in the physiology of love. That actually has to do with some chemicals and the polyvagal system itself that just opens into that field. Isn't that amazing and wonderful? I find the repetition of phrases so centering. Hand on heart, lovely, and the visual of loved ones gathered in a beautiful field. Yes. Dennis, inclusion, I am metta, and metta is in everyone's heart. It's absolutely true. There is no way for metta to be deficient, except that we have lost a momentary contact. It's not that it's gone anywhere. It's always right here, but we can not always feel it because of our own pain, distraction, confusion, like clouds over the vast radiant sun, right? Have a beautiful day, Tanya. Thank you for offering those blessings to Pete. I will send this chat to him, by the way, so that he knows that you have all offered that for him. So, hi, Anthony. Hi. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to contribute aspect of my experience that might be helpful to others as well, particularly like those who are often caught in the thinking mind, which might be all of us. But I noticed that so there was a shift. Like when I tried to invite people into the field from like the thinking mind, for lack of a better way to describe it, no one showed up. It was like it was an empty field, and I was okay with that. I could just abide in the kind of solitude of that open field, but I somehow sensed or heard or whatever, like this isn't from where you invite them. Like you don't invite them from your thinking mind. So I just gave up on that, and for lack of a better word, just kind of put out the invitation from an intuitive place, from like a non-thinking place. And then it was weird. Like characters would show up like tentatively, like, and they weren't in form. They weren't like, they weren't pictured as I would see them in real life. It was more like, their essence or their spirit or something. And it would tend to, and first, understandably, first it was my daughter and my wife, but then people who were deceased started showing up, and for a second my mind would come online and be like, oh, but how is this? And then it's, oh, of course, who cares? Like, let's just open it up. and
Yes. Yes.
and eventually the field, kind of included, not everyone, but a good many people, both dead, quote unquote dead and alive. And so I found that really interesting, just that shift from the thinking mind into this intuitive space, and then the characters showing up as almost just like patterns of energy rather than
Yes, essence.
yeah. Yeah,
It's essence.
totally.
Yeah, I couldn't hold the forms either, and they kept changing. And I would start with something familiar, just like you did, and then just like all tall people appeared, tall people I knew and tall people I didn't know, and it was the essence of that. It wasn't. I couldn't keep them there. There was no requirement. By the way, could you feel that? It wasn't necessary. I didn't have to keep working. They were just resting in the ground, in the meadow, in the field. And then eventually it didn't matter, right? It's not even relevant. You don't have to keep calling folks, because that is actually, Anthony, you're saying something really important, because I practiced just like you realize failed for a lot of years, because that's how I was taught. You call a person, you hold that person, that's got to stay. And if you didn't, you're deficient and weak and, unloving. And that wasn't because that's what were the instructions. That was the most I could make of them. Like making a pot of soup, I just kept throwing ingredients in, hoping for something, and it just got more mucked up the more I did it. And now I love what you're saying, and I want everyone to feel the expansiveness, the openness of that. How do you know it? Okay, as essence for Anthony, as flowers in a field for me, as a wide open space, as an ease of being, as a sense of vitality or awakening. And then in contact with that, can we open inclusively to whatever else is there, and without having to force or demand that it be a certain way, a certain person, a certain group. And we're going to be practicing all week, and then all month with these understandings by direct experience, because this is the way to truly know metta. Just like Shivam said, wow, I don't have to give it away and not include me. It can grow right from through beyond the me, because we're all that me. Leslie wrote something that I love and want to reference. She actually said that Ties has a beautiful, and his community at Plum Village have a beautiful chant, loving kindness chant and song. I believe she said she included the link here. I would definitely look at that. That's another way we can just a chant is a rhythm. Really, it's larger than its words, isn't it? The form now, again, doesn't matter. It isn't anything about, and then you went to love the other. Who cares? Go la, 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 la. It's not in the form. It's in something beyond form, in form and formless. We can know it in all of these ways. Neither do we have to reject form when it comes in form, but neither do we have to hold it. And that's one of the contractions I confronted, was this form holding, like it keeps slipping away, which is why when my father entered the field and then became this vast group of strangers that I did not know, I came to have a sense of that what that was about is all those who have offered themselves in service. And the suffering of that is who I realized it became clear, but it didn't need to be, is maybe the bigger point. So please look at Leslie's link. One interesting thing happened, a few deceased relatives, for me too, historically a difficulty with just showed up to be placed in that field of metta. Me too, Shivam. Those with whom we have difficulty appear because the heart has now expanded open to include them. And so I'm so happy that that could happen. By the way, I want to make sure that everyone knows that none of this may have happened for you. You may have been sitting there going, what field? What kindness? What? I don't know. I'm just trying to keep the mind out of the ditch that I've been in over the last day, week, month, or right? And can we offer the self-blessing? Can I place my own hands on my own heart and stay with myself, creating the field? That's where I began today, in our own heart, mind, bodies. Can we just begin here? And is it good enough? And the answer is it is. Yes, for sure. It is. So be watchful of this. I've got to expand. I've got to include. It's got to be others. It's got to be feeling like this. These are all really where the essential challenges with this metta practice come from. It's all these falsely believed thoughts and these binary ways of thinking, me or you or them, or it's got to feel like this or not like this. Be watchful. And the way I want us to practice with this is to, as often as we can, as we are placing the mind on others, on objects, I would like us to see if we can't open and include in some way. You already have, because they're already in your awareness. But awareness alone is not the metta practice. It is awareness with then the attitude, the cultivated qualities of inclusion, friendliness, allowance, expanse, all the things that were named by our community so beautifully at the beginning. And we have to bring mindfulness to bear. Mindfulness is the first requirement, because without recognition, we cannot invite, include, allow. Without recognition, it's just happening. And with awareness, this is the reality of metta practice. It is intentioned on purpose with recognition. And so see if we can't all day, as we are going through our day, offer the gifts of your own open heart in whatever vast and unimaginable ways. Sometimes I have to tell you, awfully, when I'm on a plane, I just picture the person and then bring a kind of embrace of light around them and wish them well. And I do that for everyone on the plane. That's one of the practices I have really enjoyed in long travel. For you, it just might be internal bow, as I have also done. Sometimes I actually make a slight bow as I am passing others the gift of that. I am acknowledging the goodness of you. That little gentle bow could be a smile. It could be a felt sense of just you, like me, want to be happy, right? Is there any limit then? I can't imagine where it could be, right? And so when somebody says, I can't do it, that's because you've got some idea. You've cultivated some concept about metta that is not true of it. If you go, I can't do it, that's because you're demanding, expecting, or something else to be happening than what's already there, what's already here. Remember, there's no me or you in this at all. If you're offering blessings to others, it's to you. If you're offering blessings to you, it is to other. This is the true exchange of self and other. And metta is the beautiful practice of it, right? So as you're bowing to another, you're bowing to yourself. As you're wishing for ease for you, you are wishing for ease for all others, right? Just like you. And so be watchful of these binary, this tendency of ours to go, it's not enough because it's not inclusive. It is inclusive, even when it gets specific. Wonderful. non-conceptual, non-dual. I can't think of anything more non-conceptual and non-dual than metta in its nature. It is exactly that. I want to talk for a minute. I have to go in just a moment, so I'm going to have to cut it a little short. I don't know if Greg is here, but I see Jim here, and I know Carrie's here. I think Carrie's still here. Can you
Yep,
show
I'm
up,
here. I'm
Carrie?
here.
Jim, are you here as well?
Yeah, I can hang in there.
Just for a minute.
Sure.
I just want to talk about what we know about the science benefits of this. And then I have another appointment right at 9 that I have to get to. But Jim and Carrie, could you guys talk about our conversation in the board meeting after I leave about the offerings on Saturday, our hybrid offerings?
Yep.
And if you would just get a kind of poll, if people could just let you know what their possibilities, preferences, and interest might be, that would give us some idea.
Sure.
Thank you. I would appreciate that. I want to just talk about, for just a couple minutes then, what we know about the benefits of this practice as it has been researched and evidence-based. And so what we know actually is that during the metta practice, these are studies out of 2013, 2014, in several universities and institutions, that people who did the metta practice towards themselves and their own bodies experienced significantly less perceived distress and pain than those who did simply breath awareness practice. Does that make sense to everyone? You get what I'm saying? That this cultivation of this quality is a medicine, really, isn't it? Metta is a medicine, not only for the heart, but for the body as well. And there really is some solid evidence and research that people's perceived pain, their reactivity to the pain, their perceptions of the pain and its intensity reduce significantly in the metta practice. Yay and yay. Love that. Like, okay, if this was all that could happen, it's good enough for me, right? Good enough that you could reduce your pain physically. Well, what's the other study say? Wow, more positive emotional qualities reported, not negative. The negativity bias was dissolved by virtue of the metta practice. That if you came in reporting complaints, these were done primarily in medical institutions, by the way. If you came in with the report of medical complaint, this happened and then that happened and this hurts and it hurts this much and this is what's going on. And then you went through a series of metta practices through a number of weeks. The internal perceptions, the negativity bias, the perception of it being unworkable, the perception not only of the physical, but the psychic suffering was significantly reduced.
I want to add one quick thing, because that's kind of where I went. When I was doing my metta practice, it wasn't necessarily about the form as it is, but looking at the form in its true nature, which is it's going to get ill, it's going to get sick, it's going to get old, and it's going to die. And to be able to be with all of that in this moment. And so it changes the idea of things are good or things are bad. Things are, a sensation that you feel. Maybe it's discomfort, maybe it's, the story that you decide to create around it for the moment. But the reality for me is just like, it's just the way it is. And I think it's helped me with some of my doctors, because they won't do what I want them to do. And I say, well, fine, whatever.
Yeah, I agree with you completely, Mike, because remember, as we're talking about it, this form is only alive this moment. There is no body next moment. That's that one. It's this one. And this is the cultivation, isn't it? Can I be now with this sensation as it is, this
and
one?
It's just the way it is. And which
right
is fine.
now. And it, as you said, it will continue to change through aging, illness, death, and beyond in ways that are imaginable and not. And can we open something? Can we be inclusive Can we say, and just like this, this is a phrase I use often for myself. Can I offer myself kindness just like this? The body just like this.
And it's an infinitesimally small piece of everything and nothing. So it's just.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And that's why we're going to also offer it to others, by the way, because really we don't want to get locked into that binary. We don't want to get locked into, I can offer it to me, but I can't offer it to you. We're going to spend our day this week, each day as often as we can, making contact, whether it's with oneself in one's own body, another in their distress or their happiness. Really, it's right. We're going to make contact. And in that contact, I want you to pause, make the offering, whether that's just that embrace of light, whether that's the phrase, may you be well. Every time I hear a siren, I am called to repeat some of the loving kindness phrases for the person in that ambulance who I know will be me. Who I know will be me, right? It's guaranteed. One way or another, it will be me in distress. It will be this body in its failure. It will be, right? And so can I offer that to us both? May we all be well in the truth of this human body, right? Just like Mike is saying. And isn't that a beautiful offering? And then we get to remove the judgments, the condemnation, the sense of failure, the sense of I've got to keep it all together, whether it's in the body, the heart, the mind, or whatever. We can open with a little more selflessness in metta practice. That's its design. It's actually designed to empty you of this fixated sense of self, expanding that to include, well, everything. Thank you all for your blessings to Pete. Again, I'm going to send him the chat. I want Carrie and Jim, if you would please, thank you, Jim, for that beautiful reading of St. Francis and the Sow. I want us to remember our practice. We are going to have to call this to mind. If you think you're just magically going to remember this every day, find a sticky, find a heart to hold, find something to help you remember that each moment we are, in fact, both a blessing, not only to ourselves, but to others, and that we can in some way find that heart, that mind, and make that offering. Thank you all for being here. And happy birthday again to Pete. Love to all of you. I'm going to sign off and let Carrie and Jim do their good work. Mike, so good to see you. I hope we get to see you again soon. Blessings.
Coming out in May for 4 days.
Yay.
Woo!
Yay. Well, I hope we're going to be doing some in contact meditating. I'll look forward to seeing you.
Looking forward to it.
Be well, everyone. Carrie and Jim, if you guys could check in before I sign off, I know it'll be okay.
I'm here.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
Ciao, Diane. Carrie, I'll go first because I don't know as much about that other site. So I think you guys all know probably by now that I'm the one who comes on early and mentions the great value of Dana. Today, metta begets Dana, but my approach has been just to go to the EMC website, push on the donate button and donate as I choose, which is an option we always have. The other options, there's recurring on the Dana, on the EMC site, recurring donations. And then there's another site that I think Carrie can tell you about. Greg knows a lot about it. But just so you know, these funds that we collect, we distribute, and whether it's to the healthcare workers or whether it's to the CRC or to Stand Up for Kids, there's a lot of different community need. And so, and we look to our community here, not only for Dana, but for ideas of how to distribute the funds that we have. I will say this, and I'll turn it over to Carrie. I miss the day of the Dana box. The in person, not only to be together in physically, but the meaning of that box and
Yeah.
how it goes back into centuries, to the begging bowls. And so I look forward to it. Sounds like we're coming close to some more in-person activities. And so that will always, I hope, always be an option for Donna as well. So Carrie, tell us more.
Well, I think mostly that, all these sites can be found on the web, on our EMC website. I'm not sure that Di wanted us to talk that much about all the Donna, even though it's really important. I just want to make something clear that the recurring Donna on the Patreon, there's a link on the donation page that is for EMC funded, giving projects. There is a separate spot for Donna for Di, for the teacher. So if you have questions, I can walk you through it some more if you want. Just give me an email and I can help you. One of the other things we talked about yesterday was more of a hybrid in-person sitting practice. Di has offered her backyard sitting space for this purpose. And what we would be doing is Zooming in the backyard, but also having about 15 spots available for people to actually sit and to be able to come together as a Sangha. If you would, are people interested in doing this? Send me a chat, or just come on and say, yes, you would. How many people who are of the people who are here would be willing to sit in person?
Yep, I would. Dennis here.
Sounds great.
Okay.
I'm there.
Okay. What we'll have to do is, if we get an overwhelming response, we'll have to do something like a sign-in sheet, right? So, because I think we looked at it last night, and 15 is the limit right now. In warmer weather, we can probably expand to the rest of the yard between the sitting, the circle, and sitting amongst the the fruit trees, right? So it doesn't matter. I think we'll look at starting something like this in the second week of May. Is that what we said, Jim?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah,
the week of, I think it's Mother's Day weekend.
The weekend of Mother's Day, so May 8th.
Yeah.
So look forward to.
My feeling is that I think everybody is welcome to physically come, and we will deal with the numbers. I think most people have chosen to follow the CDC guidelines personally. And I think most of us know how the guidelines work for outdoor activities. I think everybody knows outdoor activities are much safer than indoor activities, and we all have masks, and Di has space. So I'm not worried that we'll have to, quote, turn people away. I think we will create a space somehow, whether it's physical or virtual, for everyone to participate, just like we were doing way back before COVID, and we Diana was Zooming people. So I say come. I think that there's a value in human presence, and I think that Al has some heaters if you can't tolerate the dampness. We'll warm you up. But I think we should all begin to step towards human contact. I'm not against Zoom. I'm tired of Zoom, but I'm not against it. And I think that I would love to see people in person.
Yep. Okay, so more to come on that. Probably something in the newsletter this week, and hopefully next week. Okay.
Yeah. Be safe, everyone.
Yep.
Thanks.
Be well.